So one of the things I love about Star Wars Visions is just the idea that it sort of brings the whole franchise full circle back to how a lot of samurai films influence westerns, and then westerns very much influence Star Wars. So James, if you'd like to start, and then Kanako, I'm kind of curious, was that an idea that sort of helped get this show rolling? Was that something that sort of resonated in the various creative teams while the show was in the works? Or am I the first one to mention it during this whole thing?
No, 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 you're dead on. I think, but I think the root of that is the inspiration of great storytelling on other great storytellers. And what I mean by that is, The Man with No Name is inspired very much by Yojimbo because it was a great story, and Sergio Leone saw that and was inspired, and ultimately George was inspired by Kurosawa and his deep love of Japanese culture, and you can see that influence in Star Wars. So I think that's the root of it, and the reason I say all that is because I think we've been blown away by what we've seen coming out of Japan in animation for the last, since the 50s. It's 50s is the truth, but like I sort of picked up from Ghost of the Shell on, and I think a huge part of our creative staff was influenced by so much anime that in many ways it was an opportunity to say, like, we have also been influenced. Not only was Star Wars influenced by Kurosawa and Jedi Geki films, but we at Lucasfilm have also been influenced by anime as a form. And I think conversely, and I think Kanako can probably get into this a bit more too, what we found was all of these studios and a lot of these visionaries and these creatives were influenced by Star Wars. And so it's this interesting cycle of kind of storytellers inspiring other storytellers and begetting new great stories.
Yeah, like from this short, like you have directors like Kamiyama or Otsuka, like who saw that their first Star Wars be the episode 4. And some of the other younger directors, their first Star Wars be episode Phantom Menace or other stories. So they are heavily influenced by Star Wars. All of them are huge Star Wars fans. So as you can see from the Ninth Jedi, you find like they're paying homage to speeder bike chase in the forest, and in the duel, you can find like they paying homage to the Darth Maul as touching the shield with his lightsaber during the fight with Qui-Gon Jinn. So you can find lots of their love to the Star Wars, and then so I think this is like a huge it's like a kind of full circle.
So Kanako, I'll start with you for the next one, and then James, if you'd like to follow. What were sort of the biggest things that you were looking for from creatives and studios in collecting, these shorts for this series?
So yeah, that would be like the original, their original ideas and their own interpretation in Star Wars, because everyone has their own Star Wars stories and then their own what's resonate to them from like the Star Wars. So I think that is what you see in the short is like something like director or scriptwriter want to tell from their perspective. So I'm very happy to see like each stories are so diverse and distinctive and unique.
Right, I think that's it. We were really looking when we were looking at the different studios we wanted to talk to, we wanted to make sure that we had a really diverse array of the medium. Anime is a really diverse medium. It's a really diverse media type, and I think often there's a misnomer that it is one thing or the other, and it's just such a vast array of different storytelling. So when we were looking at the type of studios we wanted to talk to, it was who could tell, what we wanted variation, and we knew that these different studios could really provide that because their creators had different points of view on just their storytelling styles. So that was really what we were looking for broadly. And then when we started engaging with these different directors and the studios, it exactly came down to that. It came down to what's the heart of their story, and how does it fit in this sort of tapestry of other types of anime that we were trying to put together.
So James, I know in a previous statement regarding the show, you had mentioned that when giving or when, bringing these creatives together, you didn't make them fit everything into the canon mold. But I'm curious because a lot of these stories I would love to see fit into canon, and some of them even, address characters and whatnot or feature characters. And this is a time where so much of Star Wars is being made specifically to fit into the new canon. I mean, what has the vision changed at all, or are you still sort of thinking of keeping everything separate from the main canon?
Yeah, I think I kind of see these stories as they're all pretty authentic Star Wars stories, right? Like, I mean, like the core of these stories really come down to this sort of mythic, fundamental human themes that Star Wars plays with a lot. I think the timeline specificity of the actual storytelling, we wanted to allow the various anime creators to approach their storytelling from their own process. And so what we didn't want to do is start the conversations from all right, here are the spots in the timeline, and each of them has a different context that will facilitate this type of storytelling, or these are your options, which is what we often do in dialogue with creators, although we're always trying to realize their creative vision. But we wanted this to be a celebration of Star Wars. So what we didn't want to do is take things off the table that are not currently in the core timeline. Like we want, if someone was influenced by, Knights of the Old Republic or something from, the EU, that was all part of culture for 40, for all these years. Please celebrate that. That's really what was the intention here. So we wanted to give the option of that. Some of these creators very clearly wanted to fit within a framework that seemed to fit with this timeline logic, right? So like Tatooine Rhapsody, there's no reason that can't be canon. Are we explicitly going out of our way to say this rock band in this chibi style is canonical? That's not what this endeavor is about. But does that fit on the timeline? Yeah, absolutely. And I think it fits really, really nice, elegantly. There's nothing that breaks there. I think the Elder fits very perfectly within a High Republic context. But things like twins, we wouldn't have gotten if we would have started from that place, because that's such a remix and an inversion of all these great Star Wars elements that you don't go to that when you're talking about timeline canonical storytelling, because often you're thinking about its impact across the broader fiction, where these could be fun celebratory experiences like twins, for that very reason.
So for my final question, then I'll again go to James. This show is also coming at a time where Disney Plus and Disney itself are kind of looking to boost a lot of their animated programming lineup, including The Bad Batch, as well as What If. And so I'm curious, is there talks or plans of potentially coming back for another round of shorts for Visions?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's all new, it's burgeoning, and I think we want to see how this one lands. We love this. We are very happy internally with how these shorts came out, and given the difficulty of COVID, I think in many ways this is sort of a miracle, and to like get them to be so special, it's such a breath of fresh air is amazing. And so now we're biased though. So now it's time to kind of get it out to the world, and let's see what the world says. Let's see what the audience says. And if the demand is there and people want to see more of this, those conversations would pick up very quickly internally, and we'll see, I mean, anything's possible.
Well, I have my fingers crossed. I thoroughly loved every episode of this season, and I think people, both anime fans and Star Wars fans alike, are going to love it. So thank you both so much for taking the time to chat with me. I greatly appreciate it.